guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. A few weeks ago I did a video on fishing square bill crankbaits, and I got a handful of questions from the viewers regarding how to tune a crankbait. And what I mean by tuning it is sometimes a crankbait will run to the right or to the left, and there may be instances where you prefer that. You know, if you're going down a row of docks, you may want your bait to run to the right so that it'll run under the dock. You know, I'll do that with crankbait. If I'm on a really good crankbait bite or a really good buzzbait bite, you can get baits to run to the left or to the right. But a lot of times you don't want your bait to run untrue, so not straight back at you. And if it's running too much to the left or to the right, you won't get the depth and it'll actually come up and roll over on itself. So the question is, how do you go about tuning your baits? And it's pretty straightforward. And before I even show you how to tune it, the first thing I want to recommend is if you have the chance to purchase a bait in hand, so you get to go pick it out at a bait shop, you want to make sure that the line tie is straight on that bait. Occasionally, with mass-produced baits or custom baits even, you can see that the line tie was not placed properly or is off to the left or to the right. It does not happen much, but there have been some instances over my years where I have gotten home, put a crankbait on, and I mean, it's so off-tuned that I can't even tune it to work. So it's, and in all those instances, had I looked at it, I would have seen that that was way off kilter and that there was no way that bait was going to run true. So if you have the chance to look at the bait first, I recommend that. That's the first thing I do. But once you're on the water, you may have to tune the bait because it didn't come properly from the manufacturer. But more times than not, what happens is you're fishing it on rocks and you hit a rock or you hit a stump or you catch fish. You know, and just throughout the course of using that bait, it will slightly come off tuned and run to the left or right. So all you need to do in those instances is turn the line tie. So this is a Berkley square bill. You can see the line tie up at the top here. All you got to do is turn it the opposite direction. And I'll show you in the water here. So if this bait, when you're retrieving it, is running to the left, if you're retrieving it towards you and it's running to the left, then you turn the line tie a little bit to the right and vice versa. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to do it, but it's something that you need to be aware of on the water, that, you know, it can happen throughout the day, and it can happen even without ever having made a cast with that bait. So don't think you got to throw it away right away. You can quickly alter it, and here's how. So we've got our square bowl here. And this bait is it's tracking just fine. It's tracking straight in. I mean, nothing's wrong with it. But if I wanted this bait to run to the right, I would take my pliers, and you're just going to grab the tip of the bait, of the nose, and just so slightly twist it to the right. You don't want to go too much. If you go too much, you'll get, you know, it'll spin. I'm talking like barely enough to see it. So when you turn it like that, now you can see that the bait is tracking to the right. It's tracking this way. And I mean, it's like a 64th of an inch, not even. But that bait, you know, on the retrieve is probably going 2 feet to the right. So if I had a dock that was in front of me here and I wanted to run this bait into all the posts, I would have it track so to the left. So I'm having the bait run to the right is I guess, just to make sure we're all on the same page here. So if I want my bait to run to the right, which is my left, so the bait's going to its right, then you turn the nose or the line tie to the right, and you can see, I mean, in this case, this bait wants to track that way. Now, it's not so much where it doesn't run properly, it just is tracking underneath. And if I want to run this bait back, then I will take the pliers and do the opposite. I'll bring it back to the center. So I don't know if you can see that here, to see just how little bit it is. I mean, it's barely noticeable, but now I'll just grab it again and barely twist it back. then you check it. And it's tracking pretty much perfect right now. I mean, it's tracking perfectly straight. So you can change the direction of it. Like I said, if you're hitting something, you know, a lay down or something, you can actually move the way the line tie bumps on there. But this bait's tracking true right now, which is exactly how I want it. But it's that simple, guys. So if you have a bait that's not tracking properly and you want it to run to the right, the bait's right, then you turn it to the right. If you want it to track to the left, you turn it to the left. So it's that simple. You know, that's really all you're doing is moving that little bit of the line tie. And keep in mind, this works for everything. Jerk baits, rattle traps, I mean, you name it, you can do it as well. So I hope that was helpful. Pretty simple, straightforward tip, but several of you asked how to go about and do that. Well, that's how you do it. So if you got questions, let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned, more tips and tricks coming out tomorrow.